So my name's Adam Riemer. I'm from Washington, D.C., and I run an SEO agency as well as affiliate agency. And so this is Carolyn.
Oh, introduce myself. Carolyn Shelby. I've been doing SEO and websites since '94 when I actually owned an internet service provider in the Midwest, and that just sort of seemed like the thing to get into. I am currently the director of SEO for Tronc, which I know is a funny name to say. We own 9 daily newspapers around the U.S., LA Times, Chicago Tribune, Baltimore Sun, a couple in Florida, and a few smaller ones on the East Coast that you probably have, or you might have heard of them, I don't know.
Carolyn also is a queen. Why don't you tell them?
Why, yes, I'm happy to tell them about that, thank you.
30 seconds.
So I was elected queen of a micronation on the west coast of Sweden 5 or 6 years ago, and if you're interested, you may Google it because we have a Wikipedia page, and actually if you ask Google, who is the queen of Ladonia, there's a picture there of me. So yeah. There's a story there. Wait till I'm a couple drinks in and I'll tell you about it.
You can bribe the panel members with, I mean, if you need consulting, you can do anything from In-N-Out Burger to drink tickets. We're a cheap group. Next we have Brian LaFrance. His interesting fact is that he has a smoking addiction.
Yes, tell them about your smoking addiction, Brian.
So since he led off with that, my smoking addiction, I have 12 smokers and one on the way, and I cook a lot of barbecue.
Yeah, he's talking to barbecue nut children who smoke cigarettes, because that's definitely the vibe I was getting.
Yeah. So yeah, I cook a lot of barbecue.
Sorry, I'm turning it off.
My name is Brian LaFrance. I've been in SEO since about 2001. Actually started at an online pharmacy, so I kind of got thrown into the fire and learned real quick a lot of shady stuff. But so I worked in various areas of the industry. I worked for a tool provider, Authority Labs, for a while. Currently, I'm at CBS. I'm overseeing search for CBS Sports, a bunch of our video game sites like GameSpot and CBS.com, which is our network site. So that's kind of it.
Cool. Thanks, Brian. And then our last panelist is Scott Polk. There's just nothing interesting to introduce him with.
And that being said, I'll stick
Now,
with
actually, tell them how your daughter made it to her first gay bar at the age of 1 month.
Thank you for that one, and it is true. My name's Scott Polk. I've been doing SEO for about 18 years now, maybe a little bit more, but it's hard to kind of tell when I actually started. I own a marketing agency called Marketing Nomads, and I've worked on sites from anywhere from CNN, Consumer Reports, Edmunds.com. I spent 4 years there, so I've done a lot of really enterprise-level SEO, but we also do a lot of work with smaller businesses as well.
Cool. So if you have specific questions, my specialty is in the content and link acquisition. Carolyn's a tech SEO, Brian's a tech SEO, and Scott is just basically across the board on tech to content as well as design, just if there's something specific. And I believe our first site is laprintanddesign.com, and that is Christian. Christian, where are you?
Okay.
Hey. So what are you hoping to get from this, or what issues did you have?
This is my first time here, so I'm open to anything, and just to get feedback from people that have already done it, and to get a sense of where to go.
So are you looking for us to try to give you ideas on how to acquire links, on ranking better, or what are you looking for?
Yes, that would be excellent.
Okay, great. Who
I
wants
think he
to
answers
start?
all the things.
Okay.
I guess I'll start because I'm first in line. So on your homepage, I'm going to guess Brian is going to talk about your speed and the scripts that you have and the things that you can do to improve your page speed, which, by the way, does need to be improved. So I'm going to talk to you about the things that you can control on, just in terms of targeting on your homepage, right? So I have heard people say that the HTML doesn't matter on a website, and I would beg to disagree. You know, you have to look at SEO in particular as like an Olympic swim race, The difference between first place and second place is hundredths of a second. So anything you can do to help optimize and target and focus the attention on the area that you're looking for is going to help you. What I see on your homepage is that you have no H1 at all. The H1 on the homepage is generally the business title or something that describes what your business does. Like if you have a business title that means nothing, you might want to add in some words that help people understand what it is your business does. But right now you have 0 for H1. And what the H1 tells Google is, of all the stuff on my page, this particular phrase right here is the most important thing, so please pay attention to this just a little bit more than everything else. That being said, the H2 would be the second most important thing and should support what the H1 is, like you're building an outline like we did in grade school, right? You have 22 H2 tags, which is a little excessive. On the upside, most of your H2s look to be pretty good as far as keywords go. I've seen people use H1s and H2s for really vague terms like contact us, go to the home. Well, unless you're selling homes, that's not, or you're selling contact forms, you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you've got keyword-rich H tags. So what I might consider doing if I were you is pick the things that you really want to focus your homepage for, because not every page is going to rank for every term, right? What is the most important thing on your homepage, and what is going to, what do you need Google to find you for? And limit the H tags to that. 22 is a tad excessive. So you just don't try to make your homepage be all things to all people. It's not going to. That's why you have subsequent pages.
Okay. Brian?
Backlinks.
So, yeah, so looking at your, Scott's actually going to be the one to look at speed.
Okay.
So looking at the links coming into the site, you don't really have much or any of substance. You've got a bunch coming from reference.com on spammy search pages that they built, as well as, do you guys have, so is apparelcatalog.net, is that one of your sites, or is that like a?
That's the vendor site. So I'm doing dropshipping, e-commerce.
Okay.
So I dropship t-shirts.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So-
that's the main bulk of the.
Okay, and so like a bulk of the links that are coming into your site are coming from their pages, and they have your branding, and it looks like almost a replica of your site.
Yes.
But it also looks like they've got other companies that they're doing that with as well.
Right.
I would probably work on at least getting something a little more unique between their stuff and your stuff. And then build some links, because what I'm looking at, you don't necessarily have, you've got a couple hundred, and like I said, most of them are just either all on the same sites or just not of any quality.
Yeah, just to kind of fall onto that as well, links are going to be extremely important. So when you look at SEO on how Google actually ranks, they kind of, I like to bucket it into 3 main categories. You have content, architecture, and then popularity. And popularity is like inbound links, social signals, unlike citations, where people talk about your brand out there. And that is 45 to 55% of the weight of the algorithm. So links need to be a primary focus for you. The second thing I'd like to really kind of discuss with you about is that your site right now is mobile friendly, but yet your site speed is really, really bad. According to, just a little test that Google's got out there, I mean, your mobile friendliness is 99 out of 100, which is great, and I'm glad to see that part, but your mobile speed is a score of 32 out of 100. And your desktop speed is a score of 54 out of 100. When I ran you through a benchmarking test, it took the benchmark on the first crawl 3.7 seconds to get the first byte of data back from your server, and on the second crawl 3.3 seconds to get the first byte back. You're loading a huge amount of DOM elements, which are JavaScript kind of calls within your code, 529, and it took 6 seconds to start rendering your page on a mobile device. Google is switching to a mobile first index anytime now, which means that your mobile site is going to be what you're going to be judged on organically for your rankings. In theory, if that's the way that it works, then you're not going to be doing well when that happens. So I probably put some effort into the technology that's powering it. you're on WordPress, there's some good solutions out there. There's actually, go with somebody like WP Engine, who actually will probably have a booth here at the meat market and the table as well. David's probably running around somewhere. He's their, one of their VPs. And they can get you hooked up with something that'll probably get you up on the speed. Speed's going to become very, very important for you. And I would focus there, and then also focus on making sure that your site is, as Brian said, different from the other sites, because duplication is not going to get you anywhere with Google. Google likes to present one page if it's duplicated across multiple domains or even your own site. So you need to make sure that you've got something different. I mean, right now the logos between those two sites are identical.
If you want, the tool that I use to find the pages that are ranking opposite each other or competing is actually talk to this guy, this lovely young man in the fourth row.
He's not so young.
I was being friendly. But he has a company called Authority Labs, and in the ranking reports, they'll show you if there's multiple URLs showing up for the same phrase. And this could show you that you have a potential duplication issue, because it's saying Google thinks that all of these pages are possibly relevant and you don't want them to compete with each other. So figure out what they should be. You can use that to figure out which ones you should be, which one you actually want to have ranking, and then you can change the others so that they can, and figure out what they were supposed to be ranking for and make them different. Can I jump in now, or are you good?
Yeah.
Cool. So they talked to you a little bit about site speed, which is an issue for you, but you have a big user experience opportunity here, we'll say. There's all this stuff. You have home, you have about, you have service. But the thing is, if you're in business to make money and sell product, why aren't you putting product in front of people? And this is actually going to play into your SEO a little bit too in a second. So first off, we go down here and all of a sudden we see blog posts everywhere. I don't see any actual product. I don't see bestsellers. And you say join our newsletter, which is great, but instead you could say save 10%, give us your email address. It's shorter, it's to the point, and it actually gives them a reason to want to do it. Saying join our newsletter, I mean, you're in sort of a boring industry, so why would I want to be updated on this? But if I'm going to save 10% by giving the email address, then that would be good. You can use that email address to then upload to Facebook, upload to Google, create lookalikes. You can do all this stuff with it, so that's why you want that email, because you can hit their peers and start to drive in leads. Sean Dolan from Pushfire, who's in the second row, he's pretty darn good at this. See, I'm not swearing. I got better about that.
You said darn.
Yeah, that's not a swear word. But so you want to think about that. If you're in business to sell product, you want to have that product there and you want to give them a way to get through. So if it's tabletops, banners, and everything, instead for home, put your tabletop printouts, then do your trade show booth second, do this, and give them actual navigation or do pamphlets or something there and start to provide navigation and help people find their way into the site where you have products. Because right now it's very difficult to do. The next thing is on your homepage, it's all about trade show stuff or exhibiting, but your blog and your content's all about t-shirts and everything. So that it's very conflicting. Google's trying to say, what category should I be showing them up for? Should I be showing the site for? Where does it need to go? But you're saying this is the product you have, but you're writing about blank t-shirts all the time. So that's going to be confusing. Then you're also going to want to look at the basics, like your title tag, your open graph tags. As people are sharing your pages right now, it's not saying you can find these awesome t-shirts. It's giving them your company's contact information instead, which is great, but get them to your site so they can actually see it and place the order. You want to make it engaging so that they'll actually want to come through. Am I out of time? Yeah. Okay, cool. Did you feel like you got something from that?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, cool. And everyone, we're going to have time for another couple sites, so feel free to bring your cards up if you'd like us to go over them. Okay, we got another one. Did you guys get it already?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I believe our next site is Card Game Heaven. And that is Greg Bull. Hey, Greg. So what are you hoping to get from the session? What are the issues you're facing?
So this site gets quite a bit of traffic, 100 to 400,000 visitors a month. So this one just has been kind of hard to monetize and maybe significant money, I think, given that amount of traffic. So I want to watch how you guys evaluate the site and see what other ways can be used to generate.
Okay, so his question's more about monetization and generating revenue from this. Do you guys want to start, or do you want me to jump in on this?
If you want to start with the monetization.
Okay, cool. So I'll start. Sorry, I'm just looking at this for the first time. So okay, so let's click on a thing here with Go Fish. I'm seeing that you have Adsense Ads here, okay? So there's a tool that I love called Mouseflow. They're affiliate programs on ShareSale as well. It is awesome, and you can get 200 free recordings. And if you guys want a list of the tools that we use, like SEMrush and Ahrefs and Authority Labs, come up after and give us your card, and I'll just email everyone an email with all of the tools that we use that are publicly available. Okay, so I'm looking at this, and up here, people don't necessarily, if you want to keep people on your site and clicking through because you're going to have impression-based ads maybe, you don't want to give them AdSense necessarily above. Instead, run a CPM ad. The CPM ads will still show things, but you're making money. Right here on AdSense, you're only getting paid if there's a click, but they're here for content, and they haven't gotten that content yet. So you may want to hold off on that and switch out for a CPM ad because you get paid on the impression, and you don't have to rely on the click. I don't see any links here. You talk about Go Fish and you have instructions. There's a ton of, and oddly I work with a very large toy site, so I do know for a fact there are a ton of really cool Go Fish options and games out there. You could be using affiliate links at the bottom. You can also send people into Amazon off of a link like this. They're going to have it for cheap shipping, and then people are also going to see everything else that they want to buy there. So that could be a good opportunity for like a one-off product like this, especially if they're looking for kids games. Now they have it, so you can send them there. You can also do a price comparison easy. You go into the programs for like Toys R Us or National Autism Resources or something like that, depending on the type of toy and game, and you can show a price comparison. Here's where you can buy this specific version of Go Fish at these stores. So those are all things you can do there. And then at the bottom, you can create, so these are all card games. You have a niche audience. You could place at the bottom, join our newsletter and get a card game of the week, a card game of the month, and a deal, or find out what's going on in cards. You know, do something fun and create an audience for yourself. On your newsletter, you can place banner ads. You can sell sponsorships. You can run ads through the RSS feed. There's so many ways to make money with newsletters, so that's going to be a bigger opportunity for you as well. You have 3 ad blocks, which is fine. Google sometimes goes back and pulls off the extra one. Let's see. Yeah, so with monetization, I would start to diversify and use Mouseflow, or even Google Analytics has a free version where you can see where people are actually clicking and looking and scrolling. And if you're getting a lot of attention but you're not getting any clicks, throw in CPM ads there because you're still making money. Right now, you're losing space. AdamRiemer.me, I have a bunch of posts outlining exactly how to do it. I'm not going to bore y'all with it. But that's going to help you, and start to diversify it and build a list for yourself. Do you guys want to start jumping in?
Sure. Oh,
No, go ahead.
I was going to talk about just some quick things you could do to fix up your SEO and optimize a little bit better. I noticed that you're running a lot of plugins to help you automatically fill in, I don't even know where I'm looking here, automatically fill in like your meta descriptions. It looks like it's grabbing the beginning of the page. You could use Yoast WordPress SEO, or I'm unfamiliar with the plugins you're using, so I don't know how you could. What you need to do though is you need to add the variables in so that it's grabbing the right thing. Right now it's a little light. Like your meta description for your homepage it's ACE. That doesn't tell anybody, including Google, what it is your site's about. On your URLs, you've just got the post title right after the root domain. You could use a category. So it could be cardgameheaven.com/cardgameskids/gofish. And that's telling Google that, oh, hey, look, I have this whole section on card games for kids, and Go Fish is a card game for kid. It's not going fishing. It's not anything else. You're given context so that they can better rank your site. The same thing goes with your meta titles for that page. It would be a real quick change to add in the variable for the category to include that somewhere. So, Go Fish : a great card game for kids, or an introduction to a card game for a kid. And add a little bit more to the introduction. You need to be a little bit less dry so that the content is interesting and people want to read it. If it's too simple, it could be so simple it's very much like someone else's very simple page. Add something to make people want to read it.
And an image.
And an image. Images would be great, especially not stock images.
Brian, if you'd like to jump in, can I give him one more thing?
Sure.
Real quick. So are you in Amazon's affiliate program? Okay, but try something else with it. They have a new thing that's not as new anymore called Amazon Cpm Ads. And what you're able to do is it gives you the ad space blocks that you're already using in those current sizes. And oh, Steve's taking pictures. Let's all do funny poses. And so basically what you want to do is, because these always end up on Sean's feed, different Sean, but basically you'll be able to rotate in and out the current ad networks that you're using with CPM ads. And now you can start to actually really figure out what's happening on here if you don't want to pay for the tools that cost money. So that'll just be a good starting place for you. Okay, Brian?
Okay, so it looks like the bulk of the pages that you're getting a lot of the bigger traffic from, like drinking card games and things like that, they're essentially like a WordPress archive page rather than something that's a purpose-built landing page that has some unique intro text. It's just a list of posts, right? So what I would do for your bigger keywords is I would work on getting something put together that's more of an actual landing page, like using the drinking card games as an example. So create a landing page, put the actual list on that page, and you're going to have a lot better chance of showing up at the top of a search result like that one that Adam has pulled up, where Google's keying off of a list on one of your competitors' sites and building that result. And so, that's something that I do quite a bit. It doesn't even have to be a perfect list. It doesn't even have to use list items. It could just be a list of the games and like a brief description, or what makes them a good drinking game, or whatever it is, games for kids, the different things that you're targeting. And then that also gives you a better landing page for throwing ads on, for trying to convert. It's going to be I think that going through and intentionally building landing pages for your bigger queries would make a huge impact on your search traffic and monetization.
You've also got some, what I would consider to be some pretty severe but easy to fix technical issues with your site. Right now I'm able to access your site in the secure and non-secure versions of it. And they're both being indexed by Google. That's duplicate content. It's an issue. What it does is if people are linking to both versions of your site, you're not able to condense that link equity into one version of your site. So technically speaking, even though you really got one site there, in Google's eyes you have two. So what you're going to want to do is pick one version. I'd probably just say, since you have the secure already up, just migrate everything to HTTPS. And what I mean by migrate is simply throw in a 301 redirect at page level to make sure that only one of those pages renders. And then make sure you update your HTML to reflect that it's pointing to everything as well.
You good, Scott?
I've played in this space. I've done gaming, online gaming for years. And I mean, you're going after trying to target some decent keywords, and you've got some decent traffic, it looks like, according to SEMrush. I mean, like drinking card games probably brings you in a decent amount of traffic. I think the monetization strategy really has to be worked on there, as Adam had said prior. It's going to be hard to convert because I know guys that are competing in this space, they're spending $50,000 a month just on building links to their site. So go after the niche market. Maybe the card game names of like blackjack, things like that aren't going to be your targets, but go where you're already and expand on what you're already actually ranking for. Get that traffic in, and once you get the traffic in, convert them. And that's where you probably need to focus a lot on. We've got clients right now that, like I said, that are in the space for poker, and you'd be surprised what they're spending, and they're affiliates. They're not even the vendors.
Brian LaFrance asked me to place this up here real quick. It's a guide for you to help you move to HTTPS.
It's really thorough. It covers pretty much everything you need to know. Why certain things are the way they are. How to handle redirects, how to handle different languages, canonicals. It's a really good. It's on the site is online.marketing. It's a former Google employee that created it. So
there it is. And just so you know, everything is being videotaped, and you will have access to it after the show. So I'm going to do a very quick thing so you don't have to kill your fingers writing down. You see your URLs here. If you are gonna switch that over and start your 301 to redirect process, you maybe want to use a wildcard. And you also want to change your permalinks, because if the amount of traffic you have, one of the reasons you might not be able to monetize is that you aren't able to properly dissect your traffic because you're not using folders. You have card games for kids here, okay? But then when we click on Go Fish, you still go off the base URL. And so this is all Go Fish. If you had card games for kids and then you broke it out into each category, you can now take your analytics and start to break apart your demographics and really know who's on that page and show more relevant ads. You can get their median income, because if you know, like in Google Analytics, for example, you can pull the city, or you can go suburb, you can go wherever you want. And then you can say, okay, maybe they don't have toy stores located, as opposed to someone who's in the, like if they're in the country. So now you know they have to shop online. Someone that has it readily available. Maybe you can sell accessories or cross-promote other products. So you want to do that and change your permalinks potentially with the amount you have, so you can start to make money. There were a bunch of other things that we actually have to move on. Does anyone have anything else?
I was just going to add on that. As much as I agree with not having a flat URL structure, as Adam's recommending, at this point, I would not recommend you change your URL structure at all because of the age and what you've already got going on. And if you're going to do that in a stage process. Do your flip first, HTTPS, and then wait and see how that goes before you start looking at changing URLs. Don't try to do it all at once. If something goes wrong, it'll be hard to track down.
If it does go wrong as well, or you get an over-optimization penalty as well, you may want to look at this. You're kind of stuffing your keywords too with the word games on every single category and everything. Just if you get hit, I had a client come to me that was doing recovery, and in the drop-down, they had the same exact word after every single thing. People are pretty much going to know, but that's in the future if something happens.
And if you go to the archive page change that I was mentioning to you, you can actually kind of cheat that and not have to change the URLs, depending on your WordPress theme. But if you decide to do that and feel like asking questions, feel free to shoot me an email.
So next we have Nate. Do you feel like you got everything out of that or something good? Okay, cool. Next we have Nate. I don't want to butcher your last name, I'm sorry. From Linux. Linux. Yeah, Linux. What are you hoping to get out of this?
So this is a big content/community site. A lot of different types of content that we created, editorial, user-generated, and also aggregation from other sources. We recently did a site migration on this and lost a pretty good chunk of traffic. And I'm pretty sure there's some structural issues on the site, so I'm curious what's the
Their homepage.
Okay, so his issue is that they did a site migration, they lost a substantial amount of traffic. So we're gonna look basically on the tech SEO side. Carolyn or Brian, do one of you guys want to start?
You want to start with the homepage?
Well, I'm trying to figure out why when I look for the site by its name, I don't get the homepage. Like, I can look for linux.com, homepage does not come up. It's great that you're getting picked up in the news section on Google, but I feel like there's got to be something going on with the structure that's preventing the homepage. The homepage of all things should be.
There.
Oh, I was looking for something complicated, but apparently you have a no index on your homepage. So,
Yeah. What I would do is stop now,
if
go
you had-
outside, call your tech guy,
if you had
and
some
have that
traffic
updated.
problems, that might be part of it.
Yeah, I mean-
I'm gonna drop the mic now.
And yeah, we're done.
We're done
We
with
just
you.
saved you $1 million, so
No.
there you go.
For the most part, things look good, but I think that's your smoking gun right there. The only other thing I'm going to throw in, just as a little bonus, is you seem to have a terribly high number of pages that have the meta description that just say news for the open source professional. Seriously, find some variables, automate that shit. It doesn't all need to, sorry. It doesn't, shut up.
She said bad word.
No one heard it.
That wasn't very nice.
Shut up.
No tiara for you.
Anyway.
That's an inside
You guys
joke.
can automate that. You can do better. I know you can do better. Okay.
You're kind of in the same boat as the first site we reviewed. Your mobile friendliness is great, but your mobile speed sucks. It's 34 out of 100, and your desktop speed's even worse, 31 out of 100. Speed is very, very important, and it's important in how Google views it. I mean, you always want to make sure your users are primary, but if Google's not getting, go into Google Analytics, go down on the left column, hit behaviors, and look at speed, site speed. and user timings and start looking at those averages. That is what Google is using to measure your site speeds. And those numbers, again, are averages. So, if you have spikes, things like that, you're going to need to figure out how to deal with that. As speed is becoming a more important factor with Google, this is going to affect you more and more. And it's at the page level, but also across the board. We've recently had, an e-commerce client that switched from an old ASP over to brand new CMS, right? And their site speed suffered. They've lost 40% of their traffic in 6 months organically because of that. 2 months ago, we switched them back. They've now gained 40% of that traffic, or 40% more traffic than they had before on simple speed optimizations. But when it takes, your first byte of your page, let's see if that thing came back, 1.75 seconds for your first byte for it to come in on a first load.
That one could be.
That's not good. I mean, your second load came in better at 0.8 seconds, but I mean, you should be averaging 0.5 seconds for first byte on every single load. I mean, this is Linux.com. I mean, this is, walk the talk, man. So yeah, I would say site speed, and also stash any of your static content that you have up there. I didn't get a chance to look at your content, but if you're aggregating, where are you pulling that from? Okay. And also user-generated content in the long run, if that's not unique to your site, can get you into trouble. So keep an eye on that. What I probably do is whoever is doing your SEO, whoever you're working with, make sure they're aware of that and that's on their radar to keep an eye on, because if one day you come out, right now Panda is supposed to be quote-unquote in real time with Google, so it's not going to be a sudden dip in traffic per se that you'll get, but if you start seeing things slide off after you've got all the technical issues fixed, start looking at your content and just seeing how deep that goes from it being a unique perspective. A lot of times you'll probably get credit for other people's content because this is Linux.com, but that being said, maybe you won't. As Google gets smarter with attribution, origination of content, it's going to become more challenging.
So one thing that I would recommend is start adding some schema markup to your articles, to your videos and video pages. That's going to help. The schema is going to help Google to pick up the elements of the page and understand the different elements of the page a little better. With the video markup, you can tell them where the source file is for your video so that they can read the video, build screenshots for the SERPs. You'll have a better chance of getting into like some of the news, the new top stories box. I don't know how many of you have seen that. There's like 3 images across rather than the old news style box. They're starting to pick up videos in those that aren't necessarily news items, but they relate to whatever the search topic was. So put schema on your video pages. Tell them where the source file is so that they can read that in. You're going to get you're going to have a better job of getting, or you're going to do a better job of getting into news results and things like that. Your tutorial pages, anything that's an article type of page, I would add schema markup to. It's fairly simple to do. WordPress does it by default. I don't know. That should have been something that I would, whoever built the site probably should have done just automatically, but that would be my, or one of my recommendations. So.
Cool.
Yeah. The other thing, you're actually doing really well with featured snippets or position 0 content. So if you can figure out what you guys did there to get those, keep doing it, because that launches you right above everybody else. You could be on position 9 and if you get what they call position 0 with that featured snippet, you steal everybody's traffic. We love that.
Yeah, that's what we were just looking at. The tool that we use to find that in your keywords is called SEMrush, SEMrush.com.
Something else that I just noticed that I would probably fix is, so off of your homepage, you have like paging that goes through the archive of articles, right? Well, when you go through the paging, it's not actually updating the URL. You should use push state to basically force an update of the URL so that Google can crawl through the different pages of your stream, because they're looking at those links and they can't see the actual paging that it's digging through. So that might be part of your problem with traffic loss, is they're not crawling. I don't know how your last site was set up, but if they can't crawl through your archive of stories as well, some of that stuff's basically gone.
And this is more of a general comment, but I think everybody will kind of agree with what I'm going to say here. If your website is not an app is not a website, please don't build websites in app technologies. It's going to make your job harder. It's going to make everything more challenging. And to be honest, it's just a waste of resources. When you can build something in HTML or simple PHP, or if it's in WordPress or whatever that technology or CMS is, do it. Don't let your devs take you down a road of building out an app when you don't need an app. A website is a website, an app is an app. They're
And a
not the
progressive
same
web
thing.
app is taking over for both.
No, sorry, wrong.
That would be an entirely different discussion. Is everyone here familiar with progressive web apps? They're pretty cool if you're not, but they're going to be hated things for a long time. But yeah. Cool. Did you get everything you were hoping for from that? Cool.
Make that call.
Yeah,
That's
now.
important. Just
Yeah.
do it now.
The good thing is, like, your X robots is set up properly, except for one thing. I looked at your blog categories. Do you know what X robots are? Okay, so you have your robots tagged, and basically that says what to do on the site. Then you can go into specific pages or categories and say, do follow, no index or something. And basically, like on a tag, for example, you don't always want to index your tags on your blog, but you do want Google to follow them because it helps get Google crawling where you want it to go. And on some of your categories, it looked like they set it up to no index the category of the blog. Blog categories can actually rank and be good, but you have a main site, so I really wouldn't worry about it too much. What is good is that they have set the X robots up right to actually not index and no follow your login pages. So that stuff was set up right. So be specific when you talk to them about what to remove and what not to remove. Cool. Yeah, of course. Okay, next we have Juris Lead. And it is John, I don't want to butcher your last name. Bless us. Hi, John, how are you? What are you hoping to get from this?
Well, I built this site about 3.5 years ago. I've been able to rank in the top 5 on Google for most of my keywords. It generated some good business, but the space has gotten competitive. Brand new sites that are pushing me down in some of my keywords. And I do all the content. I don't have a big team, but
links.
I'm just looking for anything that might help
Staging.
maintain my brand.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Who wants to get started?
You and you guys.
Go ahead, Brian.
So first thing that I would mention is you need to update WordPress. You're running an old version. I don't know. Do you have like have a regular schedule that you follow as far as making sure you're updated, or?
Yeah. I do have a web developer that should be on top of that, but
Okay.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Well, there's something else he should probably be on top of as well.
Yeah, and so he has like some staging sites that looks like are being crawled off and on.
Now, we detected that just a couple weeks ago, and he said that that should no longer be visible to the index.
Okay.
So that may just be, from that.
Yeah, the one I just clicked, it looks like the page is dead. So, yeah, it's something to keep in mind, just not to leave things hanging out there. You don't want like a duplicate version of your site showing up, because that's actually, when I do a site search, some of the first page is the, subdomain staging stuff. So, you have anything? I'm gonna keep looking.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of add on that, if competition's coming in the market space, what are you doing about link building? Because I'm not showing really anything.
Well, I have one that I've reached out to, a former employer who's in the same space, that has a lot more traffic than me, and that's about it right now.
Okay. You need a lot of links. If we go back to like the 3 kind of buckets that Google looks at to rank, which is architecture, content, and popularity, the largest bucket there is the one that I think you probably have the biggest deficit on. There's going to be improvements to the site, absolutely, no matter what. But I think right now where I would be focusing a majority of your energy, you know, as far as SEO marketing efforts, be on link building. You need backlinks. It's just that simple. If you're the only one in the space, you're going to be able to rank without links. But when your competition comes in and they're able to throw, say, $5,000 a month at link building, they're going to outrank you, and it's going to be a really challenging time for you to catch back up with them. And you know, whether or not, I don't know your business per se, but you know, if the leads business is good on this side, you know, you're going to have to invest, because anybody else that's done leads in other spaces is spending money on links, is spending money on SEO to get those leads. So it might be something to start taking a peek at. It looks like you've had a little bit of recent traffic growth, but again, if you're seeing competition come in, then it's probably time to step up, because technically speaking, you probably have the advantage because you've been in the space a bit of time. I'm showing at least your site since like what, beginning of 2014?
Yeah, late 2013.
Okay. So I mean, yeah, you've got a couple of your head start as far as like having an H domain, having content that's been out there and been in good graces with Google to begin with. But link building, I think, is probably your biggest component that you're missing. And if you can go out and get links organically and good quality links, then do that. If not, work with somebody that can help either train you or that can do that for you. But it's probably the biggest area that you're missing right at the point that I can see.
Carolyn, do you want to jump in?
You know, I agree with everything that they were saying, and I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make changing the URL structures at this point, because your site has been around for a while. I wish that you had good categories in your URLs and that not everything was just hanging off the root. I feel like that would help clarify for the engines and people what it is that they're looking at. I don't like all the keywords that you've got jammed in on some of the pages. Nobody really looks at the keywords anyway. All that does is broadcast to your competitors what you're trying to rank for. And some of them, I'm not sure that they're contributing greatly to. I don't even know that you're actually targeting those. So again, these are just nitpicky things, though. I'm not sure that that's really going to move the needle. I think what's going to move the needle the most, like Scott said, is your backlinking. I mean, there's stuff you can clean up for sure, but I don't see anything as glaring as like a no index on your homepage.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, your page speed's the best we've looked at of all the sites so far.
And I'm going to disagree.
Oh, okay.
No, on it being the best looking site. It's a pretty site, but it's not a functional site. So if your whole thing is you're talking here about giving quality leads, one, you're using white text on a very light image with lots of white in the background, and there's no big call to action here. There's no form to contact you. There's nothing like screaming, here, reach out to us. You have call us in the top right, but you don't have like a contact us form. The contact here, you can easily change this color and make it stand out because it's really small little letters. And then also when you go to your mobile site, I was playing around with it a little bit, your input for this stuff, you're not using a hamburger menu. Instead, you're using a scroll through the site, which is harder to use. And it's hard because you have everything stuffed into that scroll. Instead, you could do a hamburger for these main things. Your input fields are properly filled out for the contact form, so that's the good news. And that's just literally redefining the input and saying which one to use. And you have autofill set up, which is good for your mobile. So that's good. But yeah, you may want to actually move this. So if you're in business to sell this pretty guy staring at you, he's going to get you clicks in Google or on Facebook because people like to see people looking at you. There's a lot of case studies. Dennis Yu, who speaks here sometime, he shares a lot of case studies on Facebook. If you show someone staring at you from the screen, it's going to get clicked on a website. You want it flowing into your call to action. You want to have everything moving forward. And then basically add in a big call to action here. So if this was my site, and it's quality leads delivered in real time, what kind of leads is this? This is lawyer and attorney leads. This is something. So I would add that in. I would also move it to the top here and make it a main focus. I would probably put a contact form starting here on the first page to get people coming in, because if you're telling people I can drive leads for you, show them what you can do ahead of time and get them engaging with you immediately and give them a reason to contact you. Then you have social security, disability, auto, accident, personal injury. You can put that right below on the left side, and you can still have these fun lawyer guys. Here, I never thought I'd say fun lawyers in the same sentence ever. So there's a lot of things like that. Then when we go to your blog, you have wee-wee syndrome a little bit. You also, so like in the one post, You just start talking about I and me as director of this and this and this. A blog should be there to provide a solution for someone looking for a question. Talk about them and give them what they're looking. If you want those rich snippets and featured boxes, that's very easy to do. I actually did a funny example where I outranked ShareSale for their own terms because I took that snippet box. All I did was put in an ordered list. It's just basic HTML. Jennifer Slegg from the SEMpost, I believe that's her site. She has a good guide for this. She could help with that. And then you also, some of these start with, in the beginning, see the full, click here for full story by Stephanie. Why don't you talk to them and explain to people instead of sending them off of your site? If your goal is to bring leads in, you could do that and say, click here for the full story after, and give the synopsis and provide a solution. Why would somebody be looking for this? How can they fix it? Instead of just talking about yourself, go right into that and give them what they need. Use that to drive into a lead. And I believe you didn't have a way to contact you directly from the bottom. People don't like to have to work. So although it's great you have get started today, contact us, this could be phrased better to be like, let us drive leads for your law firm. But at the same time, if I'm all the way down here, I'm not scrolling back. I'm not going to remember to scroll here. I just got it. So put it here too. Contact, find out how we can build your business. We can drive things. Sean Dolan, who's going to be one of the keynotes here, he's an expert with this. He could probably help you. You may want to talk to him. Yeah, and then let's see the sharing. Okay, you can open up, instead of opening up new tabs and everything, you can use plugins that just open a small little window, and then you can actually, this one will actually go for you with the monetization too. As that window box is closing, you could say, and follow this person. If you're getting a lot of shares on this stuff off of these actual buttons, which Mouseflow will show you and which Google Analytics can show you, you can actually sell that space. Where it says, also follow this account on Twitter, or also like this page. You can sell that to advertisers and brands. You can sell that to a lot of people to make extra money. For you, it doesn't make as much sense, but you don't have to take people off of your site. You can just open a small window and then let it close. Yeah. Do you feel like you got some things that you were looking for?
Yeah, great.
Okay, cool. Then we are ready. Does everyone have Matte for Men?
We do.
Yep.
Okay. Can I have this? Like, this is just beautiful, and I'm in the market for a new skincare. So, where is she? Lee S. Jacobs. Hi, Lee. Sorry about that. I saw someone smiling over there, so I was like, this is going to be her site. So, yeah. Well, hello, Lee, sir. Good. How are you? What are you hoping to get from this?
Well, I'm a brand guy, I'm a product guy, a lot of the terms you're using are.
Okay.
So I have a product line I started about 10 years ago. We get a lot of repeat purchases. We get a 70% repeat purchase. It's a niche item. Men's skincare is out really a niche item. So when we get people there, we do real well. But we're not getting people there. We do mostly word of mouth, which our products, people like our products. How do we expand that? So basically what I'm asking for is maybe your thoughts on sharing optimization, suggestions, and SEO suggestions.
Okay,
You'd also mentioned you were interested in learning more about affiliate marketing for the site too.
I am. We've been a member of ShareSale for a long time now. Really, unless it's a coupon site, I don't really need that because that means they're already looking for my brand. I'm trying to introduce it to new users. That's where I need help.
Okay. If you guys want to start, you can, then I'll dig in and finish on this one.
Well, from a technical side, the first thing I noticed is that you have a canonical problem in that your www and your non both. So if I type in www Matte for Men, site comes up. If I type it in without the www, site comes up. So you have two identical websites. Now, in Google, I'm going to guess that in Google Search Console, somebody specified the preferred version is www because that's really all I see in Google's index, which is great. In Google's index, though, I see about 500 pages. When I run a crawl of it, I find 1,500. Yeah, about 1,500. There's not that many pages?
No, I'm sorry. Not.
Oh, okay.
If you talk about that skin care, I'll follow. This is what's problems for me.
Difference in indexing?
Well, he's got 500 pages in Google's index, and he's got about 1,500 when I run the crawl.
Yeah, but I'm able to get the non-www to show up.
Oh, I didn't even
So-
see that in there, so that's part of the issue.
What she did was she went to Google and she typed site:" Matte for Men, okay? and it's pulling back 312 results for
Rotator
me.
page.
Okay. So, but when we crawled your site using Spider,
Screaming Frog, yeah.
I'm just going to dumb it down a bit. No, so there's a tool called Screaming Frog and there's a tool called Deep Crawl. Both are like ridiculously good. Carolyn's running through Screaming Frog. What she's able to see is here's what we're actually able to crawl, and she's able to find about 1,500 pages of copy. But Google's or pages of your site, Google's only finding 312. So there's going to be an issue where Google's having trouble finding its way through your site. So does that make more sense? Cool.
And then with Screaming Frog, this thing that runs the crawl and shows me all of the pages, I can also quickly pull up all the pages that have like duplicate page titles. When you have duplicate page titles, duplicate descriptions, and generally very, very similar content on pages, sometimes Google thinks that the pages are all the same. And did you ever collect baseball cards? Okay, so if you have 5 rookies of the same guy, you're not going to put all 5 of them in your special book, right? You're going to trade or just put somewhere else the 4 that aren't as good as the 1. So Google's going to pick the one that it likes, and it's going to index that, and it's going to just the rest of them. The problem is, on some of these duplicate titles specifically, they're all for different products and different solutions to different problems. So they're really not the same page at all, and you want all of them to show up. Because I see Skin Shine, Antioxidant Daily Facial Cleanser, Dry Sensitive Skin, Antioxidant Daily Facial Cleanser. If those are all the same page, literally, and you've just got them in different places to address different skin problems, you either need to make the content on those pages different and prove to Google that these are unique pages, or you really need to consolidate them down to 1. Because if people are linking into these specific product pages and they're all really the same page, it would be so much better to have 1 page with 5 links than 5 pages with 1 link each.
Talk to me about your technology. What kind of CMS are you using? I mean, I see you're like using ASP.NET, but do you know what you pay for it?
What's the shopping cart that you're on?
We use Authorize.net, and it's Business Catalyst.
It's which one, I'm sorry?
Business Catalyst.
Is that IBM?
Adobe.
Right.
Okay.
It's Adobe.
Okay.
Oh.
So
Surprisingly.
kind of keying off of what Carolyn was talking about, like with titles and duplications and stuff. So you have pages, and this is actually like a little simpler issue to deal with. So you have pages like your razor burn and bumps page, right? It has 3 products on it. Your title tag on it is how to reduce like shave irritation, razor burn, and razor bumps. So here's the problem with that is that when Google's looking at serving up an answer to a query, they want to serve the best answer for that query, right? They're not going to see a product page as a good how-to. I would build specific, if you're trying to rank for those terms, I would build landing pages with like a nice long guide of how to do that and recommend your products within that guide, obviously. But you're probably, unless you're like spamming and doing shady stuff, you're probably not going to rank for how to reduce shaving bumps with your shaving bumps page. Right. Yeah. There's no value to it to a user. If they're looking for how to do that, the products aren't answering that question.
Yeah, I mean, you have transactional queries versus research-based queries, and this is really it's a transactional page to a research-based query.
When I tell our writers how to write for pages like this, I tell them to always try to answer a question. So the title should be an answer to a question. You just have in your mind what your ideal customer, what question are they asking, what burning need do they have, and literally write the whole page to answer that question.
You mentioned something before about not using stock photography.
So with stock photography, I know people like to say that, oh, Google can't see pictures, and that's true. But pictures all
Google has the patterns for
they
optimal.
have the binary patterns.
Yeah.
So what they do is they can compare the binary pattern of one picture to the binary picture of another picture, and if they match, they're identical, and we're going to get rid of one of them. If you have a unique picture, there won't be one the same or if you modify a picture enough, it won't be the same. The point is they don't like identical pictures because they really only need, again, like the baseball cards, they need one version in their index, and they prefer things that are unique.
Okay, we are down to 2 minutes, so I'm going to run through, and we're going to talk after this. I'm going to remove the theft from your affiliate program that I found. You have some issues happen. Yeah, you have some people ripping you off. So we'll pull that off. The big thing for me with your site is that first, you're not your skincare products, but you say about us, our products, problem solvers, retailers. Why don't you have your categories, head care, travel, things like that? Next, you left your own reviews as the founder of the company. Of course, you're giving it a 5-star perfect review. If we go to the reviews you left of your own products on your own site, you actually tagged it with your own name saying, I'm the founder of this company and I love this product. I know, but as a consumer, I'm like, well, of course he's going to like it, and now it's boosted up. That's going to potentially drive some of the trust down a little bit. On the actual product page, there was Pinterest takes me off of your site directly. I also don't see like a subscription. You may want to try that where you can go in and say, let us refill this. If you know people reorder after 3 months, on the 2.5 month, do an email reminder out to them to say, hey, it's time to reorder, or let us refill it for you automatically, and starting something like that. You can do that towards the checkout. I don't see a cross sell here. If there's something that sells good, so that could possibly something.
Hey, I have an idea. With the refill automatic thing, I know this isn't completely analogous, but it pulls from a couple of different things that I've been doing lately. If you set them up with some sort of, you get a slight discount if you sign up for automatic refills. Really?
Men are very different than women, no offense. Men shop because of the skincare. They don't like to lock in every 3 months. We got so many cancellations because they wanted to do it. They use it sometimes.
Okay. All right.
But you can always email out and market to them. And you can also use those emails to create similar audiences and find their friends and people. And then under products, here's where you actually have your groups. But I don't understand things like travel. Maybe make it more specific, especially with your content here. Like meeting TSA guidelines is really good. That's something that stands out. You can do travel-friendly skincare and things. So they're telling us we got to go. But thank you, everybody. I got some of your Facebook messages and everything. Yes, I will add you to the email with the tools. If you want to submit a site and connect with us afterwards, I promise we're more lively in regular life. One of our good friends had a birthday last night, so we're all a little worn out.
And make sure to fill out the review cards.
Oh, yeah, and please fill out the review cards. Thank you.